We've got a little bit of a Northeast Ohio theme going on today. We just had Matt Guerreri at Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Later on, we got Joe Casper, also from Duke. Joe played for us at BW.
Awesome.
Matt's from Willoughby Hills, Willoughby South, somewhere over there. Went to Notre Dame Cathedral Latin.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So we got coaches filtering into the room here, and we'll get started right at the top of the hour. I'm appreciative of everybody who has spent some time here. Thank you for keeping it interactive with our coaches. It's much better for them when they're able to answer some questions and have that interactivity rather than just looking right into their camera. So keep that going. Coach will answer questions throughout. As it makes sense, as well as at the end. He's going to have about 50 minutes here. And, we're excited that everybody's been taking part in this. This has been extended, so it was planned to end tomorrow. You'll see the schedule fill up again here in another couple of days. To get access to all of these presentations, lifetime access after this is over. It's just a donation to Lawrence First and Goal, which is a great charity set up by Army defensive coordinator John Luce to fund research for pediatric brain tumors. So a donation to that will get you access to the 200 plus videos we'll have by the end of this. I'm excited to introduce you to Coach Zetz here. I got to know him when he was on the opposite sideline from me at BW as the offensive coordinator at John Carroll University, a big rival of ours over there, playing for the Gold Bowl trophy every year. He's a Northeast Ohio guy, grew up in Struthers, Ohio, played at Akron, spent a lot of time with Joe Moorhead at the different stops he's made. And certainly that's been an influence on some of the things he does offensively. Tim does a great job. I know when he was in the area, a lot of our coaches would go to him in clinic, and he's going to have a great presentation with you here today. He was on our podcast back in the early days, Tim. I think you were one of the guys in the first month of doing that. I did link that on Twitter today at Coach K Grabowski. That's Grabowski. All kinds of great episodes coming up here on the Coaching Coordinator podcast. And please check out what we're doing at USA Football with the football development model, which is designed to help you as the high school coach build your youth programs, build your feeder programs with just a ton of resources for your coaches, your parents, and your league commissioners. Please check that out at usafootball.com. Coach, thanks again for taking part in this. He's going to talk about red zone perimeter screens here today, and I'll turn it over to you. Tim Zetz, offensive coordinator at Austin Peay State University.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on. Just got a message here. My dad, I know there's the Zetzes and Camels. My dad was actually at Struthers. So, but hello to Tom, and, kick this thing off. So, yeah, we're going to talk about red zone perimeter scheme. So kind of wanted to broaden it a little bit, not necessarily only talk about pass game, but also how we talk about kind of how we incorporate the perimeter just overall. You guys are going to see some like Wildcat stuff in here, that we have a receiver that has a skill set that really, I think we can utilize in the Wildcat formation. And then also, some screen game, a little bit of run games, especially the closer we move toward the goal line. So I will not make this full screen because when I do, this is the Exos Thundercloud, which we had huddle, but the Thundercloud is not as friendly, so I can't see the questions and answers. So if you guys can't see the screen well, then I can blow it up and then always minimize it, periodically just to kind of see some of the stuff that you guys are saying. So just let me know. And like Keith said, if you guys can make it as interactive as possible, that way I could be answering any kind of questions that you guys might have as we go. As the season went, one of our strengths was in the red zone. And to be completely honest with you, as a play caller, I don't think I was very, very good at the start of the season. And what's good about, I think, having game goals is we weren't, first two games, we weren't getting our game goal as far as touchdowns in the red zone. So we want to get 66% touchdowns once we enter the red zone. So we didn't hit that goal the first 2 weeks, but then as the weeks went on, kind of just became more aggressive, and I think it was, we ended up being pretty successful down there. So our points per possession, once we hit the red zone, we were 8th in the country. It was like 5.5 points we averaged once we hit the red zone. So, 5 points per possession, it's telling you that we're scoring some touchdowns down there. And so it was, had some success, like I said. Red zone scores, we were 6th overall in the country. And then those are our touchdowns, once we got inside the red zone. So we were 11th in the country in rushing touchdowns in the red zone, and then 23rd in passing touchdowns once we entered there. All right. Just to let you guys know, all right, kind of my philosophy, our philosophy. I will try to blow this up. I know it doesn't have great quality right here, but I'm going to read through it. How we break up the red zone is in 4 categories. So we're going to have the fringe, the red, the tight, and the goal line. All right, that fringe is a bigger chunk of area. It's from the 30 to the 21. And one of the reasons I got this from Joe Moorhead, that this is what we did when we were at Fordham together. That area, somewhere in there, the thought behind it is a defensive coordinator is probably going to change up what he's doing, and want to know where that area is within the 30 to 21. Because you would think that somewhere in there, he's probably gonna try to knock you out of field goal range, because depending on where he sees field goal range, is going to be dependent on kind of probably his own philosophy. So as we kind of break it down, we try to see where in that area he changes, and so that we know that we might have to change. So again, you're probably going to get a little bit somewhere in there, a little bit more probably aggressive, or a change up, philosophically with that, whatever that defense coordinator might believe in. Then we move down to the red. All right, the red is what's universally known as the red. Once we enter that 20, and from the 20 to the 13 is the red area. Tight is from the 12 to the 5, and the goal line is from the 4 and in. So that's kind of how we break it up. That's how we game plan, and that's how the call sheet is reflective once we kind of hit those areas. All right. Kind of obvious here, but our attack is we want to score touchdowns, and that's the biggest thing that we want to do when we get down here. We don't want to settle for field goals. We obviously don't want to turn the ball over. That goes without saying, but we want to be aggressive and not lose that. We're in attack mode when we're down there, and we need to finish it off. So I know defenses sometimes pride themselves in kind of putting their heels on the ground and not letting you score. And we do the other way of that. We want to stay aggressive and attack, and definitely finish off the drive with a touchdown. So as far as our philosophy goes, when we're in there, our ball or nobody's mentality. So as far as the receivers go, quarterbacks go, that type of stuff goes, so there's going to be some tighter coverage, and there's going to be some things that ways to kind of attack defenders, but our receivers got to know that it's our ball or nobody's. So even if it is a bit of a underthrow, if it's a kind of jump ball 50-50, those got to be ours, and if they're not ours, they're nobody's. One of the big things we talk about down here, and just overall with our philosophy, is using the entire field. So we want to make the defense defend horizontally as well as vertically, and especially the closer that you move down, you lose that vertical threat. But you always have that horizontal threat. So using all 53 in the third, from sideline to sideline is big for us. Get that spacing, that proper spacing with our concepts, and try to do as good of a job at that as we can. One of the things we like to do, in all situations, is carry the concept. So how we game plan, it starts with first and second down. That's our base game plan. And something that's not in here that I actually wanted to pull, all right, is I think this is going to be worth your time right here. One of the things, because just like everybody, I'm sure, we want to make sure we're as efficient as possible when we're out practicing. So one of the things I had one of our GAs do, who's also our tight ends coach, Mike Selene, who's a stud, and if anybody's looking for an O-line guy, tight end guy, running backs, anything, he's a really up and coming coach in this profession. Mike Selene is his name. I'm sure he's on our website. You can kind of check him out. But I had him go back through and look at all of our plays And I think this in itself is really useful. And this was like a eye-opening kind of experience. Basically, what I want to do is be efficient, right? With the time that we spend breaking opponents down and the time we spend game plan, the time also on the practice field. So of all of our plays, all right, 49 of all of our snaps in the season, 49% of those were in the freewheel, all right, which is, again, the base, where our base game plan stems from. So that is all first and second down from the -11 to the +31. So any first and second down that falls in there, that's not 4-minute or 2-minute, because we take those out too. That's what we refer to as a freewheel. So, or in other words, a base game plan. So of all, like a lot of time that we're going to have, we want to spend half of it at practice in that. You also want to spend pretty much what's telling you is you want to spend half your time game planning on freewheel too. So why I say that is because you guys saw kind of how we want to carry concepts over from the base game plan as much as we can, because we're spending the most time game planning those areas and practicing those areas. So, but this study I thought, again, was just cool because it kind of shows you how things break down. So of our third downs, 14% of our snaps throughout the season were third downs. 21% of them were in the red zone. And then 8% was in 2-minute. 6% was 4-minute. And then coming out was 2% of our total snaps. So as we kind of went through this, we kind of broke it down. We on average get about 200 snaps during a practice week. And I won't kind of go through the semantics of it, but had him break this thing down. And based on 200 plays, as you see scrolling through it, he kind of went down, and then all the categories that we have inside of that, he kind of broke it out. So we know how many plays that we're going to allot inside of a practice week. And so I thought that was kind of worth sharing, and that was really cool. I forgot about it really until I started to put some things together for this, and I was like, I should probably show that. So don't know if that does anything for anybody or not, but thought that was a thing that we're doing now that I'm going to continue to do moving forward. So that's one of the things, carrying concepts from the base plan, also carrying concepts over from third down. We want to make all those concepts pretty much collide when we get into the red zone. So, and then there's also going to be some game plan specific things that we do inside the red zone too, which you'll kind of see. So, one of the things we want to do is always have a plan, which is obvious, but we want to make our play calls based on defensive tendency. So, throughout study, these are just some examples. They're going to be one high, two high. They're going to be man zone. Are they going to give us access or no access? When to expect pressure or drop 8 meters, have those in your plan. And then multi-purpose plays on good versus all defenses. So that's kind of, where we're at in our philosophy in the red zone. All right. Talk about, again, the fringe. So this is going to be our plan from really the 20, from the 30 to 21. All right. So one of our big quarters beaters, all right, is going to be the inside double post, whatever you want to call it. So don't know what you guys are seeing, but I know for us, we see a lot of what we refer to as clamp coverage. So pretty much whenever you get 3 detached, one of the big things that defenses do, that their adjustment when they're in quarters, is to play what we call clamp. And that is, having the star out here, corner pressed. You're going to have that field safety somewhere either over number 3 or split the difference of number 2 and 3. And then you're going to have that, boundary safety backside, and then you have your corner. So basically what I refer to it as is 10 on 10 football. They're playing, they're Xing that guy out. These guys are pattern reading number 2 and number 3. All right. And it's basically, like I said, just a 3 detached quarters type of defense that we see a lot of. So when we tell a quarterback, when we see quarters, all right, with this progression is we're working the post to the big post. All right. So we're really inside out. Okay. And one of the adjustments that we have, again, this is a quarters really beater, but one of the adjustments that we like to have on here, we like to make everything as multi-purpose as we can. So even though it's created for quarters, we also have an out in case we see one high man. All right. If we see one high man, then the progression, so going back to quarters, is going to go 1, 2, using that as 3. All right, this guy's going to really, he's running a no depth, we call circus. So it's a no depth. He wants to pull that backside safety out of the progression for the quarterback. All right. Now, if we see one high man, again, trying to just make it as multi-purpose as possible. All right. We eliminate that. And now we're going to work inside, still out, but it's going to go 1. All right. This is going to convert. So the post is going to convert now to a glance route, a 5-step glance. We're going to work that as number 1 and then use the hiss as number 2. So as we kind of talk about these routes, all right, hiss, that we refer to as a hiss, it's a hitch that has a slant. It has a slant adjustment on it. So if we see tough adjust, all right, so if it's press or cloud, he's going to adjust that route to a slant. All right, if it's any type of off coverage, he's just going to keep it as a hitch. All right, so right here, you see if it does go one high man, the big post is going to clear out a big window, all right, for really that slant to be able to win. All right, if you don't like the glance, then that window should be huge for that slant coming right behind it. All right, so you guys are going to see some examples of that here in a second. It's going to be more so off of the, you guys are going to see it off of the quarters looks. All right, so here's that defense that we were just talking about, right? The 3 attached. All right, let me just get this better here. All right, so he's outside leverage, right? And these 2 guys are basically pattern reading these guys. All right, if either of them go, I think the general way to look at it, if anything under 5 yards and out, all right, it's gonna turn into palms, all right, or whatever you want to call it, or in other words, it's gonna turn into basically cover 2. All right. So this guy, they're eliminating him, saying, just clear him out of the equation, play 10-on-10 football. All right. So what we really like is this concept, again, the double post, because this guy, all right, he's going to clear out that guy. And then you're really running a deep post on a guy that you already have leverage on. All right. So you're running an in-breaking route on a guy that's outside leverage of you. And that's also at 5 yards. All right. So we're going to see a good example of that. But the big key that we tell this guy is, all right, his depth is 12 yards. And his aiming point when he gets to that 12 yards, all right, versus zone is going to be 4 yards inside shorter of the near safety. All right. So you're going to see an example of that right here, him running to that landmark. All right. So again, quarterbacks read it inside out. If that safety, all right, over number 3, or the innermost receiver right here, if he just keeps sinking and getting a ton of depth, you can see that window, that huge window, all right, that he's going to have underneath here. He's number 1 in the progression. So until this safety grabs it, the ball's going to him. All right, but here you see him. All right, so at 12 yards, he's taking that nice 4-yard, 4-yard landmark inside shoulder of that near safety right there. So he's forcing him to either grab him or pass him. All right. So regardless right there, you see, all right, quarterback's going to have his eyes on him, be ready for it. As soon as the quarterback sees that safety, all right, trigger right there, then he's progressing out to number 2. And again, you can see the leverage that we have on that guy. All right. Allows us to know depth. All right. To be able to you have all that room to be able to throw him open too. All right. The backside circus. He's not even really having to clear anybody out because they're already inserting that safety down in there, but he is holding that corner. You can see, all right, they're doing a kind of a switch right here. I think that corner is more of the half field player over there, so the circus is eating that guy up. Good question here. All right, how's the adjustment versus cover 1 communicated from receiver to quarterback? It's not. So like really what we just tell our guys to do is be able to, they're seeing it. The number 3 receiver, he's going to feel, all right, if this guy's coming down and he's aggressive outside leverage, pretty much that 6 or less, all right, yard area away from him, he's going to know that it's going to be a man. So he's, they don't communicate it. They're going to have to just be on the same page. And here you can see clearly that it's a zone coverage. Even though this guy's outside leverage, you could think that it's man if you look at those 2 guys, but then you can see that it's not man if you look at the number 3 receiver right here. All right, so that's kind of the way that we teach it right there. And, because the quarterback does got to speed up his feet a little bit, and he's got to speed up his mechanics to be able to get that ball at the glance because it's a shorter route. But that is not communicated. That's just something that we expect them to be able to see and know, and that's through game plan and study. Give them the tips to kind of be able to hopefully diagnose that pretty easily. Hope that answers your question. All right, this is the same exact play. All right, but we have the ability to kind of do it from all different formations. All right, so here you see it just condensed. All right, so we're gonna really tighten down the formation here to the field, which is really good, I think, because normally you're gonna get 4 over 3. All right, they're gonna get one more defender over how many guys that you have. So if we have 3 defenders right here, all right, and most of the time if you end up tightening down the formation, you're going to get an auto zone check, and they're probably going to put 4 over 3. All right, they're going to put 2 guys underneath, all right, at the second level, and then 2 guys over top at the third level. So right here, what I really like about this is, all right, we're still going to spray. You guys can see, all right, that number 2 receiver right there, he's going to gain 2, still run that big post, but what he's going to have is leverage. All right, that's what you're thinking if they're going to zone it off. Okay, then basically what we always want to do whenever we condense the formation down like this is we still want everybody to get to the same kind of landmark scenarios. So instead of that hiss that we just talked about, the hitch that turned into a slant versus press, he's going to run what we call floor route, which is a flow return, all right, which is a out that comes back under. All right, so that way we could just get leverage on that when we do come back down. You lose that one high. Don't really lose that one high anymore. You're still working that if you have the one high man, you're still going to work that inside out. You're less likely to get it again when you have that condensed formation, but that guy's just going to be that much more open. I feel like, as he gets that defender kind of running and then whipping it back under, because he'll be the number 2 guy in the progression if they do go man. So here you guys are going to see it. Okay, again, you're going to get some kind of a box, right? They get 4 over 3, which is really common. All right, again, if you do face a lot of teams that are, heavy man, or if you want to kind of dictate the coverage to the defense, is why I like to, kind of condense it down, because again, most likely you're going to end up turning man into zone or just getting that zone check. All right, so again, you got the 4 over 3. All right, that inside guy, all right, same deal, right? We said it versus any type of zone, he's going to push up 12 yards and run that 4-yard inside short of the nearest safety landmark. Here you see him do it. All right, he eats him up, right? So quarterback's going to bang that inside post right now if that safety doesn't grab. All right, but more times than not, that safety is going to grab. So right here, he's on time, he's ready for it, but he sees that safety grab. Now you can see him. You're going to progress out to the big post, which we have just great leverage on. All right, and then you can also see that what we call floor route, the flow return right there. All right, if he was coming down, you can see how open that is. All right, that number 1 receiver to the field right there. So, all right, that's really good for us overall, in all areas, and that's what this kind of is it's red zone, but it's also all areas because, like I said, we have a lot of carryover. So, all right, one of the next things I want to talk about is just a simple flood concept, all right, that we run. I know everybody probably does this, all right, but we use a lot of jet motion. And it's really good for us because we run like the power read type of stuff. We also run, just other kind of variations of it. We call it counter read. There's different varieties of the jet package that we have that you guys will kind of see, and it'll show up as we go. But right here, so, we really want to get that guy moving right now. All right, that what we refer to as our X receiver coming from the boundary, put him in jet motion. All right, and what's good about this is it's going to be a 7-man protection. So you don't really need to get that tight end out. You keep him in protection because you're flooding, all right, to the field. So he doesn't really have to hold anything down necessarily, all right, over to the boundary. So we keep him in the protection. This is a safe kind of play. What it does is all right, what you see a lot of times with jet, I'm sure you guys do it. If you guys do it, you see a lot of safety rotation, right? So wherever that jet's going, you're going to probably see that two high shell, or even if it's one high, term I refer to as slingshot. So those guys are going to end up slingshotting themselves, are the safeties, to be able to, gain leverage and gain a hat to that side. Well, this is really good because they're worried about keeping leverage, and they're worried about all that, kind of containing the jet guy, again, because you're doing the power read stuff with it and everything. So now, all right, this is a good compliment off of it, because you're going to get those guys playing low, be able to hit it, all right, in that, we call sail route at that 18-yard kind of landmark. All right, but how we teach this and how we kind of progress it. All right, the post read, the outside guy, he is versus one high or press. He's just going to take the top off and go right now. All right, 40-yard dash as fast as he possibly can, take the top off, clear it all out. Versus any type of two high safeties, all right, what we say is a take two post. All right, so he's going to run at that near safety, all right, to take the corner and the safety hopefully with him. All right, now the lose to sail, all right, by our number 2 receiver right here. He's going to lose, push up to 12 yards. All right, so he's going to actually sell, which is another good thing is, with this motion, he's selling like he's basically push cracking, all right, the overhang. So he's, selling that lose to, but then he's also in the meantime getting even more separation from the sideline. So it's kind of a twofold advantage that you got right there. He's going to push up to 12, and then I call it a friendly corner. So our corners, we say back pylon angle, but on this one right here, it's a friendly corner, meaning you kind of want to have that. It's not an out, it's not a corner, it's a friendly corner, all right, or whatever you want to call it. But landmark is 18 yards when he gets to the numbers, all right? So that's kind of the area that we want him to be at. And then we always have some kind of a flat control with this concept here, which here you see it's going to turn into the swing from the guy that's the jet motion guy. Verse 1, I'm reading this question. So verse 1 high, do you want the vertical route to get outside the corner, or good question. So we call it a fish hook technique. All right. So we want to run at that defender to make sure that he's engaged on us. And I got this from Luke Getz, a guy I worked with, at Mississippi State. So fish hook, meaning you want to get close enough where you can hook him. All right. Hook that defender. So you want to run through his outside shoulder, but you again want to attack and you want to run through his outside shoulder. All right. And so that way you can kind of make sure that you clear him out and that he's really engaged on you. All right. You guys are going to see it. Hopefully this film's good for you guys. I don't know if there's anything we could do. If it's not, I apologize if it's a little choppy. All right. So again, now you got the jet motion. So here you see a great example. I mean, a lot of teams are going to do this. I mean, we see this more weeks than anything else, the slingshot technique, right? So you see those safeties. All right. They started really in one high, but then the motion starts and now, all right, they change which way the safety inserted. So again, this is really good in a few different ways. You're going to get that guy, all right, down like that, but then also look at the overhang. All right. So look at him jump outside leverage because he's trying to leverage this thing all in, because again, we've run power read out of this. We've done different things. So it's a good compliment. All right. And allows us to kind of get a free run. All right. With the inside receiver and, just basically freezes that overhang just enough too, so we can beat him over the top. All right. Great catch by him. But to answer your question too, that's a pretty good job by that outside receiver right there. All right. So we want to, again, kind of attack him. You can even almost lose to kind of get as close to him as you can, because you want to be close enough to be able to fish hook him. Do you make the release for the sail route mandatory inside release? Question here is, do you make the release for the sail route mandatory inside release to get the flat defender's eyes on flat control? Yes. So we that's what we want. Exactly right. So it's a few different ways. You're selling push crack. You're also getting even more separation. All right, to the sideline. But then I guess the third thing of that is you also invite that overhang's eyes to get inside. Exactly. The question right there, because that's exactly what it's doing right here. Okay, he's already kind of a little bit nosy. All right. And there he's kind of jumping outside. He's freezing. So, yeah, to answer your question, yes. All right. We do want that to be inside release for that reason, kind of serve as eye candy. All right. So here's our next one. All right. That we really like down here. It's really just a play off of, again, the power read. I know a lot of people are kind of doing this, which is the reason why I want to include it on here. So really it's like your up package, but coming from the backfield or 4 verticals, whatever you want to say. All right. Nothing really changes. Our 4 vertical rules stay all the same. All right. So the interval, so we call this twist. All right. So right now, normally the number 3 receiver would have the climb route, but because there isn't a number 3, all right, or the number 3 guys coming from the backfield, now number 2 takes on the assignment of number 3, if that makes sense. All right. So what we refer to as a climb route is he's going to go inside the overhang over the mic. All right. And what he's going to do is basically he's not trying to pull anybody. He's just running his route. What's naturally going to do is pull that safety with him. All right. Pull that safety down to his side with him. So as he's running that climb route, quarterback's going to have his eyes on that climb route to make sure that that safety activates onto it. All right. For the quarterback, all we're doing is really we simplify this. We were going to only call this versus really quarters. We were going to check out of it if it wasn't. All right. We were going to go seam to swing. So in other words, we're high-low in the flat defender. All right. So if the seam was there, all right, we're going to go ahead and bang it. If not, all right, then we're going to check it down to our swing. You can very easily include the climb into that progression, but we just want to simplify it to seam to swing. I'm sorry. Yeah, seam to swing. So. All right. Here you guys are going to see it. So again, good compliment, I think, to power read. All right. Again, that inside receiver, he is going inside of the overhang. If I say star, that's just my terminology. So I'm trying to say overhang. I want to say star, though. So if I accidentally say star, that's what I'm talking about, is that field overhang. So he's going, though, all right, inside of the overhang over the mic. All right. And then we tell the climb route, you're really running the daylight. So right here, you see, though, that route naturally, all right, pulls the safety. All right. Well, we tell the quarterback on this footwork, all right, it's power read, so we're pulling the guard right here. But instead of him wrapping up for the play side inside backer, all right, he's just going to be kicking out. It's like counter, basically. Okay, so he's going to be kicking out that defensive end instead of wrapping up inside. Quarterback, all right, we say one shuffle. He's probably a little bit too wide. One shuffle, you want to ride it, and we want a B gap launch point is what we say. All right, so because that puller, because he's leaving the gap and the center's got a back block on a, whatever he's got a back block on, we want to find that happy medium between, how that's difficult for that center potentially, but then also, all right, we want to make it friendly for that guy who's kicking out the defensive end. We want to kind of find that middle ground. We found B gap launch point area was kind of that medium area, all right, to kind of set up in. So quarterback right here, all right, again, he's just going seam. You guys, I mean, this is exactly what we want right here. So you see what the power read action does to that overhang right here. All right, he jumps outside. He's got to leverage it. Okay, so he's the leverage player on power read. All right, so he's going to play downhill. He's going to try to knock it all back inside to his help. All right, so you get him to play outside because he thinks he's getting blocked by this guy, and now we're just slipping him right now. All right, and pretty, wide open right there. Great camera view. All right. One of the other things, again, talking about a perimeter type of scheme that we have. This is our power read. All right. Now, how we call it, and everybody calls it probably something different. We say counter read or power read, depending on who we're going to read. So if we call it, I won't tell you the semantics of like how we name things or whatever, but if we call it counter read, that means now the quarterback is going to put his eyes on the mic, the play side inside backer. All right. Let me make sure. I'm sorry. All right. Before I get there, I'm going to answer this question. All right. If leverage player sits, do you want to run to his outside shoulder? Really, we didn't overcoach it. I mean, his landmark was going to be on the hash, the guy, the seam runner coming from the backfield. And it just naturally kind of happened where that was his landmark. And as he's pushing out that way, and between that action and the action of the backfield, that overhang more times than not just ended up, jumping outside to leverage it all back in, to box it back in. So, we wanted to widen, and it was just easiest release, to kind of get to your landmark. But the way that we practiced it, the way that we planned for it to be was that guy jumping outside, so you're slipping inside of that guy, if that answers that question. Okay, so back to this though, so power read is obviously reading that we refer to as C gap defender, not necessarily defensive end. We say C gap defender. So, if it's the 4-eye look, you guys are probably seeing that too. We want to read the first guy outside hip of the tackle. After talking to Coach Lombardo, a good friend of mine, and over at St. Ed's, who I know was on here, he actually kind of turned me on to potentially reading that end no matter what. I really like that, thought, whether it's a 4-eye or not. Gonna kind of, investigate that. But the way that we have power read called right now is we're going to read the final C gap defender. All right. But if we have counter read called, we're going to read now the place that inside backer. We're going to kick out that defensive end. So right here, this was one of our, we ran this quite a bit. We ran counter read a lot. All right. You guys are going to see a good example of it. So quarterback is going to take what we say punch footwork, meaning he's going to take one step backward. Let me just get to it. It'll be easier or better for you guys to see it. All right. So quarterback, all right, he's going to be reading, all right, the inside backer, pretty easy right here. All right. He is going to take punch footwork that you see. All right, just stepping out. The thing that I'm kind of a little bit more in favor of protecting the quarterback. So basically what I tell him to do in his read on all these is your determining factor is, can the guy that you're reading make the tackle on the ball carrier, or in this case, a swing route? So, that's the rules I give him. So could that Mike make the tackle on the swing route right now? No. Okay. So I definitely agree with his decision right here. All right. So he takes punch footwork, puts his eyes on that place, that inside backer. All right. We can out leverage it, go ahead and give him the ball. And then there you can see he made the right decision because that Mike, obviously wasn't able to recover right there. All right, taking it from here. All right, again, you can see us. Okay, now 15 were to sprint out of there right now. Okay, and he was able to make the tackle on the ball carrier, or in other words, a swing. Then quarterback's going to keep it. All right, so it's no different than really power read principles. All right, we just call it counter read because again, we're reading the play side inside backer. All right, we're kind of we're in a unbalanced package right here. All right, but there you see pretty easy. All right, 3 for 3 out there, and get your speed and space. All right. So with all those things, so you just saw our swing, how we like to, we do that a lot. All right. We run counter read a lot, read the play side inside backer, and really determining whether or not we run the swing. So if you do that, my big thing philosophically is you need to have answers to, them obviously being able to defend it. So one of the things that we see is, overhang stars really being super aggressive, right? We're just trying to plow through our number 2 receiver as soon as he sees the swing, when he combines the swing action with the stalk block, all right, then he's just shooting there right now and basically trying to, beat the swing to the point of attack. So this is our kind of answer to it. So it's a really easy concept. All we're going to have is, all right, the post read, start with the outside receiver. He's going to be running the post read. Same thing we talked about with that, all right, sail concept that we just hit a little bit ago. So versus one high or press, all right, he's going to take the top off go right now, run through the outside shoulder of that corner and just clear him out. Versus too high, like we talked about, he's going to take 2 posts, all right. Now, so he's clearing out the picture. The number 2 receiver is going to shuffle. All right, he's going to look like he's trying to get leverage on that guy. He wants everything to look exactly like he would if we were just running the swing, all right, our counter read that you guys just saw. Same thing with the number 3 receiver. So the initial phase of it is they're shuffling, okay? In the meantime, that number 1 receiver is clearing it all out. So he's going to shuffle, get that overhang to activate, and then he's going to have a landmark of top of the numbers area where there should be a huge gap, all right, once that overhang bites on the swing route. So as soon as, we're running the counter read swing, we're running. As soon as we see that start, like one of the things that we're focused on, like, you know, in the box and everything, as soon as that guy starts triggering fast and just, you know, trying to just make it a Oklahoma type of drill, you know, for out on the perimeter. Okay, cool. We know what we're going back to, you know, and that's going to be this concept right here. So this is a pretty good answer for us. All right. Here you guys are going to see that same thing. All right. That we just, you know, same kind of concept is going to look like. All right. So we got to the perimeter. It all looks like the same concept, right? He does a really good job. He wants to just be patient, make sure he sells it. Talk about the inside receiver. All right. The number 2 receiver. As soon as they get to that really like halfway mark, they break down, shuffle, shuffle. Once that guy activates, all right, try to jump that swing route. You see him slip it. And I mean, you can see right there, it's pretty much you know, as easy of a throw as you could get right there. Great job by the outside receiver. You can see he does not do the shuffle, all right, on this, because we want to clear that guy out right now. So he's on his horse right now, getting going. He's going to run a take 2, which he does, and then open that window. All right, you don't get too much from that. Okay, so, and then taking it, you know, one of the screen right here that we really like, that we need to, that we're going to focus on. We're going to spend a lot of time this spring doing a slow screen to the running back. And why I really like this is because you really have 2 concepts going on at once. All right, so you could put any, I could do a whole another hour on this alone. I love this concept. All right. So away from the slow screen side, all right, you can put any type of 3-step route or any type of beater route that you want. So right here, this is our man beater route. Both the outside guys are going to end up rubbing for the inside guy. All right. You could put stick out there. You could put anything, any 3-step concept. Okay. What the quarterback is going to do is take his 3-step footwork and put his eyes on that. Even if the look looks terrible and he doesn't want to target any of those routes out there, he still puts his eyes out there to serve as eye manipulation. Because as soon as he puts his eyes out there, you're going to get now linebackers to fly out there. You're going to potentially get safeties to work over that side. All right, you're going to just, you know, get the defense to play over there. But ideally, you want him to be able to, you know, I tell him it's not a progression. You're picking one route that, based off the pre-snap look of the defense, you really like. All right, so say we're running stick, all right, and you really like the leverage on that stick route. All right, just go ahead, stare, you know, you're going to stare a hole through it. All right, put your eyes on it. If it's open, take it. Okay, if it's not open now, you're going to do what the call was intended to do anyways. All right, and you're going to get back to your screen. All right, and I mess around with the quarterback after we run this, you know, a few times, until finally I got you to hit a check down. Because that's all this is. You know what I mean? If you don't like that field concept, whatever it is that you tag out there, you hit your check down, which you should be doing. Now this is just really a check down with like a caravan out in front of it. All right. So our timing of it is 1001, 1002 up front. So they're going to stay engaged, 1001, 1002, go. All right. And basically, all right, where the tackle, the play side tackle, I'm sorry, the screen side tackle in this case right here, the left tackle, he's going to stay locked on. All right, the guard, center, and backside guard, all right, those 3 are going to basically negotiate. All right, the uncovered guy's going to be going, but then the covered guy, all right, they're going to be working together. Whichever guy can get out based off of what that technique does, all right, that's going to be the guy that takes the backer in the box. All right, so the uncovered guy is going to take the support player right now, and then the other 2 guys are going to kind of work that combo to the screen side linebacker. So you guys are going to see it. All right, just a 3rd and 10. Call, obviously, you know, you guys probably like me on 3rd downs. You like the screen game. All right, get a little man zone indicator right here. All right, by reloading the back. All right, because we have that concept that I just showed you guys to the field. So if it's man, you know, you really like that rub route. Okay, but because you didn't really see anybody reload with the back, all right, you're thinking it's a zone. But no matter what, all right, we're still putting our eyes out to that field side. So there you see quarterback right there, okay? And look at what it does to, you know, obviously the defender's over there. All right. Running back 1001, 1002, good timing. All right. O-line does a good job getting out. Take it from the back here. All right. So here, really, you're thinking the center should have a free run. Let's see. Okay. Yep. There you go. All right. 1,001, 1,002. All right. That play side guard gets out. Then our center gets out. All right. So you see him do a good job there. All right. Good job setting the blocks by the running back. And, it's a really good, I love it. I really do. I believe strongly in it. So, any other questions with that, feel free to ask. All right. So taking it down to the red zone. All right. Which again is from the 20 to the 13. All right. This is one of our biggest concepts that we have drop back wise. All right. We just call it bench. It's nothing but a flood in the boundary. All right. So the number one receiver, all right, whether we have him tightened or not tightened, doesn't really matter. All right. He's going to run what we call a corner read route. All right. Meaning he's going to read the corner. All right. If the corner is over top of him, he gets to his break point, all right, 12 yards, he's going to turn it into an out route. If the corner is under him, all right, or even with him, he's going to run at the back pylon. So a corner route. All right. So it's all based off the corner either being higher or lower than you is what you're basically backyard football. You're going to run opposite of where he's at. Over the top, you run out. Underneath, you run over the top. All right. The guy inside of him, so the number two receiver, whether that's coming from the backfield or in this case right here, you're going to see coming from the tight end, he's going to run a 3 to 5 yard flat route. Okay, so right now he's going to the flat. Backside, all right, we're going to run drive concepts, so that comes in the quarterback's vision. This is about as friendly as progression and as a concept that you can have. If you watch our tape, we run this a ton. All right, we run this a ton, and we were really successful at it. It's not one of those like big chunk kind of plays, but it's a really good completion type of play that could turn into something even longer than that. Quarterback's going to read it really simple. All right, he's going to read flat right now. All right, what I always tell him is don't pass up completions. So flat right now. Go ahead and take it if you got it. All right, even if it's if it's open, he's going to at least get 5 yards. All right, because he'll be able to catch and get upfield. So minimum, you're getting 5 yards right here. But 1 is going to be the flat route. 2 is going to be the corner read. 3 is going to be the drag coming into your progression, all right, or coming into your line of sight. And then 4 is going to be your gain 2 basic. 5 is going to be your back. All right. So as you kind of draw this out, all right. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, this is super easy. I mean, I would do this no matter where I was, no matter what. I would be running this because it's so easy and it's a super short, easy completion for the quarterback. Really friendly for him. Okay. Here you guys are going to see it just flooding the boundary. All right. That's all it is. So, like I said, quarterback, don't pass up completions. Number 1, open, take it. All right. So here you see it. Number 1 is open, throw it. All right. And then there you see, all right, everybody else. Okay, getting in that quarterback's vision. All right. The drag route kind of gets a little bit block knocked off a little bit. Okay, we got a question here. This is just like a bunch formation mesh. Yeah. I mean, this isn't earth-shattering by any means, but this is something that I believe is really, really good. It's really, really easy for the quarterback because it's such a short throw. And you're telling him exactly where to start. He's decisive with his read. It's, a 5 yard away kind of completion. All right. Now we run that from that. That just so happened to be from that condensed formation that you guys saw. We also run it, and probably more than not, all right, we run it from detached. All right. So everything would remain the same. The only difference is, all right, if we ran it from detached, all right, then that corner route is going to lose too. All right. Because we actually want him to get, a little bit more. Again, we wanted him to get a little bit more separation between his route and the sideline right there. We also want to clear up the read kind of for the quarterback, so it pulls that corner even more so if you have press man out there. So it pulls him away. It defines things a little bit easier, and it also gives more room for the throw on the back end of it. So that's how we run it if it was from a not condensed formation. All right. So this is kind of our adjustment off of it. All right. So because, anytime they see that kind of vertical stem and the flat, they start thinking that it's going to be that concept that we just talked about. So one of the things that we do kind of just to package that we marry with it is this. So he's going to now, the number one receiver, all right, is going to now run a 7-step glance route, whatever you want to call it, a post. I don't know. I know everybody has their kind of own verbiage, but that he's going to be number one in the progression right now. So how we said before, the number one is going to be the flat. All right, now number one in the progression is going to be that 7-step post. All right, so he's number one. You got to take it. All right, especially when they're using that wheel to really fly out. All right, and cover on that previous route to cover that flat route. This is really good because it replaces that area that wheel just flew out of. All right. But we're going to read it now. All right, that 7-step post is going to be number one. All right, number two is going to be that flat, and now it's going to be a flat wheel. All right, so again, you're thinking that wheel is really going to rally and push hard. All right, drive on that flat. But by the time we get to number two, we hope that he over pursued it, and now we're turning up the sideline. So he's number two in the progression. All right, number three will be the drag. Number four is going to be the gain two basic. All right, backside. All right. Quarterback right here. All right. Again, that's going to be number one in the progression right there. It's going to be that 7-step post. Open window, clean window, take it. Don't pass up completions. All right. So that's one. And then you can see there, all right, the flat wheel would be coming open too. Again, I never coach a quarterback past. If he makes the correct decision on, all right, what the progression is, we never talk about that next guy in the progression because I don't even want him thinking about that. He did good by hitting number one, don't pass up completion. So, but you do see number two in the progression getting open too. All right. So again, kind of just good compliment. Those things marry each other, I think, pretty well. Thanks. All right, 1150. All right. I want to jump down because this is something else, all right, that I really like. It's in the run game. All right. I think this is really useful. All right. Got a question. Glance routes versus press change? No. All right. They don't. So we still keep them on. All right. And one of the big things that we say, anytime we have that angle kind of release, so if it's a slant, if it's a glance, if it's a post, like you just saw, but whatever the case, anytime we have that angle kind of cut on a route, we always tell them his aiming point is a 45-degree angle out of the cut. All right. In other words, kind of the near upright, area. That's kind of his, landmark on that. But an overriding factor on all of those cuts, like you're saying versus press man. So let's say that guy's really like on his back. The overriding factor to that 45-degree angle is an angle to win. All right. So he has to, like, it might turn into a dig. You know what I'm saying? Like if that guy's really draped all over his back, he can't run that 45-degree angle. Now, overriding factor is angle to win at all times on those cuts. All right. So, all right, real quick, this is really good. I like this on, down in the red, but also just in general. When you ever get that clamp coverage, all right, like we talked about, outside leverage of number two, all right, and you get that pattern read type of defense, all right, you guys are going to see it right here. So he's walked out, all right. Again, they're going to eliminate this guy. They're pattern reading down number two and number three. So the reason why we want this route, all right, this is an important part of it because we're going back and forth. We want this to be a stick or a branch. The only difference of a stick and a branch is a stick is at 6, a branch is a deeper stick. So that pushes it up to 8 yards. All right. The reason why we wanted branch right here is because we know that 5-yard mark is that mark that, that outside defender, like this guy right here, the overhang, he's pattern reading really 5 or shorter going out. He's going to, flat foot and then just be sitting there. So we wanted to make sure that he clearly passed that threshold and got to 8 yards. All right. So again, if both guys go vertical pass 5, whatever yard mark it is for these guys, this is going to just turn into basic quarters. They're going to carry both guys. All right. But here you see it. All right. So now it just got activated. You can see right there. He's pattern reading. All right. This guy right here, right? Outside leverage with eyes inside. All right. At that point now, they both are vertical. So now he owns number 2. which clears a huge window here. All right, because look at the leverage you have on that mic from the get-go. So, I think you get really good separation right here. And again, that palms pattern read type of, reaction from the defense, it clears it out really well. All right, do I have time for one more? I want to get this right. Yeah, okay. So this is really good. Our head coach, actually, he put me onto this, which is great. He put me onto this mindset and this thought process. Anytime that you're trying to figure out what a team is doing, all right, do the wrong way stuff. So get both pullers going one way and then your backfield going the other. And you immediately know now, who are they keying? Are they keying backfield guys or keying pullers? So we like to run this a lot, especially early in games, but often just in general, because if they're keying on our lineman pulling, all right, you can see, look at these linebackers, all right, running right now. So they're clearly keying our pullers, all right? But in the meantime, all right, that's just window dressing because we're putting the ball on the perimeter away from that. So they're running themselves out of the picture right now, and you get a clear idea of what they're reading or what they're coached to read. So let me take it back to this real quick, all right? Just this drawing. Here you see the tight end right here. He's going to check. He should be checking right here just to make sure this play can get started. And if not, then he's going to be sealing the box. You're going to have a lead blocker with your A, all right? And then if you guys do run a bunch of, condensed type of formations, which, we do a pretty, we do it quite a bit. All right, here you can see the linebackers key on tight ends, right? But they don't key on these guys, all right, because they're skill players. They're receivers. They're not worried about them for split flow purposes or anything like that. So he's kind of the forgotten about guy where, if you were to motion them a quick motion, they're probably going to now be activated a little bit onto that guy. But because we do a post snap, I think it adds a little bit of a surprise element to those guys. All right. So again, this is predetermined. We're just going to give this ball to this guy right now. And the pullers are just dummy. All right. Take it from the back here. This will be the last thing. All right. So there you see. All right. Pullers, we're pulling. This is GT counter right here. All right, pulling them, get those linebackers to run themselves out of the play, and then predetermine, tell the quarterback we want to keep this thing below our belt as much as possible to kind of hide it, and then carry out the fake, to that side just to make them even believe it that much more. All right. You guys have any questions right now? I know we got, I think 5 minutes, but I might be Keith, is there anything? I'm reaching the time limit now, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, Coach. If there's no questions, we can wrap up. If people have some questions, you definitely have a minute or two to answer.
Awesome. So, if there's anything, please fire away. All right. Can you show the diagram of the jet counter? Is that what this one you're talking about? If it's not, let me know. All right. Again, it's just GT, and you could do anything. You can run any kind of scheme. I mean, it could be power. It could be anything, as long as you're pulling guys and to get those linebackers running. So thank you guys. I really appreciate that. Do you ever read? Yes, we do read on the GT counter. We do that probably more times than not. Now this is just a rebuttal to it. So instead of just securing this guy, we'll actually bring the running back across. He'll be the guy that's going to be running the counter. It's a little bit, I know counters are supposed to be misdirection from the backfield too, but that's the only way that we can read that guy. So we actually bring him from the same side that the pullers are coming from. A little bit of you lose the integrity of the play a little bit, but it allows us now to be able to run, out of like 10 personnel sets too, the ability to run a gap scheme, adding 2 gaps, but then still being that backside defensive end right here. So yes, we do read on the GT counter. Great. If there's anything you guys ever, want to follow up on, my email, I don't have I should have probably put this on there, is zets@apsu.edu. All right, so ZetsT@apsu.edu. I'd love to hear any kind of follow-up kind of questions or anything. I really appreciate you guys being in here. And just let me know if there's really anything else. Thanks.
All right,
Guys.
Coach. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your day and talking some football with us.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll see you guys.